Hey guys, it's Monica at Academic Phoenix Plus, and welcome to another reaction. But this time it's going to be a little bit different. My twin sister Mel, say hi, Mel.
Hello, everybody.
My twin sister Melissa has decided to pick a video that she really, really enjoys, and I'm going to be basically reacting. Now, it is a 3D animation, so I will be able to give some feedback as a 3D artist, but she's going to be talking about why she loves this and also the culture, significance, and the symbolism, and so on and so forth. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
I've been very busy the last couple of years. This movie came out in 2016, and I just watched it last month. And it's been in my list of films to watch for a very, very long time, but I finally got a chance to, and I really, really, really loved it. And I wanted to talk to you about one of the climax scene in Moana, because
Moana.
there's so many things in those just few minutes, and I like also your opinion in what you have to say with the color and
I saw it when it came out because I'm a big fan. So the first thing I do is just sit down and watch every animation out there. Remember it not clearly, but I do remember the effects, which I think that's what I'm going to be focusing on is the amazing visual effects of lava, steam, flowers, like
her hair.
her hair. Yeah, so much amazing stuff. All right, so I already have it up. And are you ready to watch it?
Yes.
All right, and here we go. There's the heart. Dramatic camera angle. Oh yeah, that's when we see when the girl. It's actually a woman.
That's Tefiti,
Mm,
and that's Taka, and we realize that they're the same person, but she doesn't have her heart.
I love the glowing effect. Look at that smoke. It is so hard.
There he goes, and that's Maui, and he starts doing the dance. Exactly. That's called the Haka dance from New Zealand. The native people from New Zealand, the Maori, they do that dance before a battle, or it's a ceremony dance as well. And you'll see it in for example, before a rugby match, they do that dance.
Oh, I mean, I knew it was like a warriors dance, but I wasn't. I guess it would make sense in a sports team or something like that before you go to a big
Yeah, and a
game.
rugby match is the most famous when they all get together and they start doing that dance, and it's very powerful and strong and intimidating.
Very intimidating. When they did it in Moana, I was just like, "What is he doing?" But
And what's really cool about that scene with him is he's pretty much trying to distract Taka from attacking and killing the girl. And he doesn't have his hook anymore. It's broken. He's just now just a semi-god that can't do anything.
so he's
So he's
basically
pretty much
sacrificing
like
himself.
exactly trying to help in some way.
Yeah, I mean that just shows how much he cares for Moana.
Exactly.
All right, so this is a really stunning scene because green represents the heart, right? So anytime you see the color
Hmm.
green, we have been taught in this movie that it represents the heart, and now we understand that it also represents like life. So it's a really powerful imagery. So green always shows up in this movie to signify life. Like in the beginning of the movie, the village is full of green, right? And then
Yes.
as I guess the darkness starts consuming everything, it starts to get dark. So green already symbolizes life. So in this case, I guess it makes sense that we would think the heart represents life. Beautiful hair, beautiful rim
Hmm.
lighting. Ugh, water effects, it's intense.
Yes.
Let her come to me.
Okay, so here pause
Okay,
the
okay, okay, okay.
video. All right, so I find this scene really interesting, okay, because what's going on in her island, it's that it's dying and the people are stuck there. Her father doesn't want to use the boats to go to another island. So pretty
Right.
much her people are going to die if she doesn't do anything. So she goes on this trip to try to return their heart to Tahiti, to
I love that you
Tafiti.
say trip. I want to say journey.
It is a journey.
Because a trip sounds like I'm going to the store.
Going on a holiday, yeah. So she's going to return the heart to Tafiti. And then when she steps up and the water opens up, I always found that scene very interesting because that's really Moses
Hmm.
separating the water. Moses was saving his people And when it was
Let her
time to
come to
go
me.
to the promised land, the water opened up too, and he saved his people. And this case, the water has separated, and she walks in because she's also saving her people. She really knows how to save her people. And I find that really powerful because Disney is purposely using symbolism from the Bible in general to talk about salvation.
I think you're absolutely right. I think the splitting of the water and the fact that it's a woman doing it as well is also very interesting. Like it's a girl, a young girl, and then you've got this goddess who's a destructor. So it's almost like a balance of old and new, young and old. Um,
Human versus God,
yep, human versus goddess,
human versus
and
nature.
yep.
Hmm.
And then she went through a whole conflict of herself, like you versus you. So there's, I
Exactly.
mean, it's every written element that you can come up with. It's all in this movie. So, so what I love about this particular shot, though, is again, there's a lot going on in the scene. You have, first of all, the dynamics of water in this movie is just unbelievable. Like
Spectacular.
just the fluid simulations. It's just so complicated, and of course, it's Disney, so they can afford it. If you guys have ever done any type of fluids, it is intense. So watching all these fluids is like it just blows my mind away. But the fact that there's a tiny little green light at the just at the very corner, and you just know exactly where you're supposed to look at, and also notice the pool of light here. Notice how dark everything else is except for here. I mean that's obviously purposely done, but you also have these kind of like God rays. They also point here, so it's
Oh
very
yeah.
clear that even though this scene is very complicated, you have these vanishing points that end up here, and then of course you have the goddess looking at this thing, and then you've got the pool. So, I mean, everything is basically saying you're supposed to focus here in this tiny little spot. And it's just really powerful imagery.
Because of the whole big screen, especially when you watch it in big screen, everybody's paying attention to that dot.
Yes. Everybody's hyper focused on that particular spot. Absolutely.
Is fire and smoke as difficult to do as water?
They're both considered fluids. Yeah, believe it or not, smoke and fire, lava and stuff is considered like a different type of fluid. So you have water that has a particular type of consistency. Lava is very heavy, almost like honey, like it's called viscosity. It's very sticky. And then smoke doesn't have that viscosity, but it does have a lot of energy, so you'll see a lot of boiling. So it's almost like smoke is almost like boiling water, but you use a shader to make it look like it's smoky. So, but they're all considered fluids. They all have the same dynamics and physics and things like that. So,
Okay.
look at that. I
And then
just
the
love her
music.
hair, her rim lighting. That is, I'm sorry, I gotta rewind just a little bit. I'm gonna use the keyboard. The whoever created this animation is just like really went all out. Like
I
this is a
mean,
squash and stretch effect. Like it's just really trying to show you
ah,
emotion.
what
Like it's
about the
just like
purple lightning?
I think it's supposed to symbolize that she's ticked off. It's like she is enraged. Her face is enraged, her animation's enraged, everything's enraged. So it's just but whoever animated this, I mean, they must have had a really good time. Look at that. It's great. It's almost comical, but it's so dramatic. That she
Exactly.
crawls. It's beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful. Jeez Louise. I
I
believe
love
the
this song
concept
too.
art is I have to find the concept art, but hold on, let me go back. The concept art for this looks just like the movie. Like you usually have concept art and you recreate it in 3D, and I believe like this concept art was like really close. I'm gonna see if I can find it, but it's stunning.
I have crossed
I
the
wanted to mention also here how
horizon.
this, I would have never been aware of this if I hadn't watched your video about Raya and the dragon, because you said how when the protagonist is walking from the right to the left, it means that she's going against the grain. And then if the people coming from the left to the right, it's people are going with the grain. And I thought this was interesting because that's exactly what she's doing. She's facing her fear. She's doing something that nobody else is willing to do.
You're absolutely right. Symbolically, when you're trying to show that somebody's going against the grain, you go from right to left. But most of the times, people walk from left to right in a video. Visually, you're trying to say like, "Hey, this person is really trying to go against something." You'll see it from right to left. And Raya does that, and there's several movies that do this effect. So it's kind of fun because when you watch it, if you see somebody getting introduced and they're coming from the right to the left, that usually means they're kind of like rebels, I would say.
Hmm.
So again, it's all these visual hints about their story that if you're not aware of it, you don't even recognize it. maybe subconsciously or unconsciously.
Mm.
But yeah, it's just film language that it's like a secret language that if you know about it, you're like, ooh, somebody knows their film language.
Right, right.
So look at that water. It's just stunning. I
It's
can't believe
gorgeous.
it. Foam. That's so hard.
I love the
Hair,
song.
smoke, fire. What were they thinking? Look at that. Jeez Louise. I know the music's gorgeous.
I love it.
I'm sorry. Every time I see somebody go to a corner of a rock, it reminds me of the Lion King.
A Little Mermaid.
Oh, Little Mermaid.
And I love this scene here. Woo!
Oh wow.
There.
Jeez. Oh, her song, her music is so
I
beautiful.
love it.
Look, she's like her fire's decreasing.
And I love the message she's giving. She's talking about herself, and it's helping the goddess realize that too. That this is not who you are. Like Moana, throughout the whole movie, she's pretty much talking about how she feels like she needs to be in the island and do what she has been taught to do, but yet she's not that. And so who she truly is well, she loves her island and she loves the water and she needs to be out there. And she's showing her, the goddess, Tefiti, that that's not who she really is. She's angry and she's missing her heart, but that's not who she is. And that calmed her down. And then there we are.
And the healing can begin.
Exactly. And that is the Maori way of saying hello, and that you just do that kind of like head bump and rubbing the nose
Oh,
to welcome somebody and say you're not a stranger anymore. You're a friend and you're welcome.
so you do that to somebody that you care for, or
No, you just
this?
met. It's like telling a stranger that you're a friend.
Oh,
It's like,
okay. That's cool. I didn't know that. You clearly have done some research. That's great. Okay, so
yeah, this is great.
technically, this is really hard. Again,
Yeah.
it's just like everything they do is really hard. It's basically an animated texture to get this to start glowing like that. So it's not, or it could be composited, I guess. But in general, you can animate a texture to kind of follow this path. But growing foliage alone is really complicated. But to have this much foliage, like forming from the center and blooming and then spreading, I mean, that is out of control. Like they're just at this point they're just bragging, you know. So it's they're like, look, water, fire, hair, cloth, foliage. It's like it's really pretty stunning, but
And
it's
that's
so
what's so
magical
great
and
about
beautiful.
this scene.
Hmm.
It has
It's
so
true.
much.
It's so true. The rocks falling, you can see this. Look at that. It's just really pretty.
There she is.
She is. Just love how and then they've got like little petals floating around.
She's life. She's even got birds.
Can I say it looks like a lot of pollen?
And
Because right now
pollen.
it's
Oh,
like
that's good.
allergies. I was just looking at all of this and I'm like, I feel bad for anybody that has allergies to pollen.
That's hilarious.
It's a Claritin commercial.
And here's the sea. And that's from... Here we go.
Look at that. Jeez Louise. It's unbelievable how they did this.
This is very similar to Princess Mononoke with the deer
Yes.
god, where the deer would step, life would come, like plants would grow, but the moment he stepped away, they would die. So he was like the cycle of life, like birth and death, but she's
remember that.
actually just life.
I love that scene with when the first time you see that deer and he takes a step and then all these things bloom and then and as he steps away everything dies and you're just like, oh my gosh, like it's just so powerful. And he's kind of scary looking, but he's actually, or it's not so bad.
And the water creature, if we see that scene again with the water, there she is. That's from the abyss. So I also
Definitely
find
Abyss.
this very interesting because, well, I mean, you see the water creature throughout the whole movie, but it's a reflection of the water creature in the abyss. It's literally the same. Like it looks the same. And
It's uncanny.
I find that interesting because I don't think that's not on purpose. I think they've done it as a way to get people, viewers who are older, who have seen the abyss, will relate to that. While people who are younger have never seen that movie, will be like, wow, this is fascinating how that water comes from. But it comes from something, it comes from a previous movie.
Always remember the abyss with that almost like snake water, and you
Yeah.
didn't know it was aggressive because the first time you saw it, you were like scary, and then it starts making faces, and you're just like not scary.
Exactly, it's trying to communicate, and
Yep.
they do a similar thing here in the movie, where she doesn't make faces. She just turns her head with the child to communicate,
Yes, it does like yeah,
like
and then it
Moana
does
as a
funny
kid.
things with the hair. Because the first time I saw it, I remember thinking, "Oh my gosh, it's the abyss," and I can't
Exactly.
remember if it was scary. And then it starts playing with the little girl and getting her wet and doing all these things, and I was like, "Okay, not scary."
See,
So
but they did that on
friendly.
purpose.
That's a really good point, and it's beautiful. Like, look at the gradient of colors. I know it can be reflections or refractions. You can see like it's got some really nice highlights, like rim lighting, but it's got this really nice gradient as well. Just it's just and it has bubbles on the inside.
Hmm.
It's just so beautiful. It's really great. I'm sorry, I have to say like these are all the same flowers. I find that really unusual. Usually these are different flowers, but usually the ending has a tendency to be kind of done quickly. So
Really,
I wonder if they're just like, just put some flowers in there. No one's gonna notice. Oh, there's the chicken that somehow survives everything. Oh,
everything,
it's over.
and that's it.
That was great.
So
That was
one of the
beautiful.
other things that I know that a lot of people who watch your videos are people who are learning about movies and 3D, how to
3D.
work
Yep.
3D and lighting. But I think another very important part that Disney does and many other film production companies do, they make beautiful art, they make beautiful 3D, and their storytelling is good, but they
Hmm.
also have these other important symbolism, like the
Hmm.
splitting of the water, which represents Moses and salvation, the
Hmm.
reflection of the abyss, which helps like talk about like it helps with the older older generations that have seen this film, and all of that in the end ends up making a really good film because it adds depth. And
Yep.
though the
Depth.
splitting of water is biblical, it doesn't have to be that way. It can be symbolisms from whatever culture you may be from, because I know you have some viewers from India, and
Hmm.
it's pretty much like
Russia.
knowing your background, knowing your culture, your symbolisms, and adding that into it indirectly so that people will notice. And if they don't, it's okay. It's part of the story.
I mean, it's true. They add a lot of depth to it, so they do a lot of research. They had to do a lot of research on the Polynesian culture because they wanted to make sure it was accurate and correct. Like they don't want to insult anybody basically because it would just take away from the story. They really want to focus on not only the beauty of it, the aesthetic, but also have because it represents such a large culture. And that's something that I do applaud Disney and Pixar of doing, especially in the most recent films, is that they're really trying to touch on other people's cultures, something outside of just like northern
The West.
storytelling. Yes, the West. I mean, that's the part that I'm really blown away about what they're trying to do with Raya and they're trying to do with Moana. Coco, it's another one that's really big.
Yes.
It's just trying to show everybody how beautiful these cultures are. Like everybody has a culture and they have legends and they have beautiful music and beautiful dancing and it's just such a powerful message to be like take a look at this culture. Like did you guys know that there's this beautiful storytelling and that we can all connect to. And at the end, all of the stories are about connecting each other in a human level, in a loving human level. So that's why I appreciate Disney and Pixar for trying their best to just bring other cultures in and to also say like we all really care. We all care about our families. We all care about love. We want to survive, and we all share the same things. We have so much more similarities than we do differences. So I think it's beautiful.
I agree. And they did a great job. They were very careful in representing the culture here and not hurt anything in any way. And they did a great job, except I don't know if you heard about it, but the marketing. the
Uh,
Halloween costume of Maui.
no, what
Did you
happened?
hear? Well, they had his like tattoos like costume for kids, and that was considered extremely inappropriate, and they had to withdraw it.
Oh,
So they
oops.
did such a good until the end when Halloween came around.
Well,
Culturally sensitive, especially when
yes.
it's a story of a different culture.
Yes. So let me see. I actually know the student that did this. So let me see if I can find the video of his visual effects breakdown. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find it. He's actually the visual effects artist of in Disney, and he created a bunch of visual effects. But what I wanted to show is this part. He actually shows the breakdown of how he created the smoke and
Whoa.
how it's separated. Right. So I want everybody to know as a 3D artist that when you, especially when you're creating visual effects like fluids and lava and water, they're not all rendered into one frame, all the elements. They actually are composited together. So what happens is that they create the different uh, aspects of it, like flame, particles, smoke, the character, and then they add all these extra elements, and that's how you get that effect. So
Wow.
this is all the effects. So this one artist, somebody does the animation, and he's the one, in this particular case, he is responsible for all the fire, the smoke, the particles, the fluid, everything like that. And then the lighters put it all together. So I just wanted to share that with you that it's pretty powerful, powerful stuff.
That's amazing.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was a reaction and analysis of Moana, which is a beautiful animation. If you guys haven't seen it, you should definitely give the time to see it. Just because it's from 2016 does not mean that it's old. It is still stunning. The effects, the story, everything. It's going to be one of those classic animations that people are just going to keep watching
I
because it
think
is
so.
so, so beautiful. Mel, thank you so much for being here to show me this really cool reaction,
Thank
this
you.
really cool video.
Thank you for having me.
I'm just really pleased how much you know about this culture and the aspects that you really thought about it. Like you really thought
I
about
really
how,
did.
yeah,
I analyzed it a lot because I loved it, and I just found it very powerful and how much it had in just a few minutes. And I also wanted to hear your perspective in the 3D, well, the 3D world.
it's really stunning. I really love these movies and I'm excited to do more. I really enjoy these reaction videos. So, well, anyway, let us know what you guys think by leaving a comment below. We would love to hear your opinion. And if you have any recommendations, feel free to leave a comment below because we would love to react to it. In the next reaction video, I'm going to show her something that I like, which I believe she hasn't seen yet. So we get to
Probably
see her
not.
reaction and then we're going to analyze it. Yeah.
All right, great. I'm looking forward to it.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. That's a little message from you to us that lets us know that you are interested in these videos and that you want to see more. So please like, subscribe, and don't forget to click on that little bell to make sure you don't miss anything in the future. Thank you again for watching and
Keep
keep creating,
creating, and
and
we'll
we'll
see
see
you
you
next
next time.
time. Bye.
All right. Bye. All right, I'm going to stop recording.